Again, I'm Dr. Elizabeth Markle. I'm the founder of Open Source Wellness. I'm a clinical psychologist by training, and I left my work in big healthcare organizations because I got really clear that we were failing our patients around health behavior change. So the first part of this technology of behavior change that I want to share with you is called Get Honest. I want you to take 10 seconds and get honest with yourself about where in your life you're on the court and where in your life you are in the stands. There's no shame in this. This is human nature as far as I know. Step 2 starts with a quote. You ready? Desire is the only power source potent enough to affect change. Desire is the only power source potent enough to affect change. You know what's not an adequate power supply for change? Guilt, shame, failure, consequences, self-recrimination, apathy, boredom. If those worked, again, I would not be here. Desire is the original renewable resource. You can't fake it, you can't deny it, and it's self-regenerative. And I'm going to suggest to you today that it's the power source that fuels extraordinary individuals and extraordinary teams. Before I go on, I want you to take a minute and notice how you feel. How does your body feel and how does your emotional state feel? Because I know when I look out, there are a lot more smiles, there's a lot more laughter than there was a few minutes ago. And I'm going to call that vitality. I'm going to say that there's a formula that goes like this: truth plus desire equals vitality. And we could call it aliveness, engagement, activation, agility. But I would suggest that this ingredient of vitality is something that we are constantly assessing in each other. Whether we've seen someone's resume, we see what they're wearing, what they say, we're really feeling someone's vitality. And I think it's the direction that Genentech is headed. Towards a world where it's not the executives on the court playing the game and everyone else cheering and watching and waiting for something to happen, but a culture in which everybody is powered by truth, desire, and vitality and making it happen. Okay, we have some vitality, we have some inspiration. That's great. Are we done here? Unfortunately, no. A mountaintop moment does not translate into sustained change, and here's why. Number one, your life and your work are composed of habits. They're not things that you think about, they're things you just do. Number two, your current habits will not get you what you want, they will get you what you have, by definition. So if you're curious about your habits, take a look at your life, it's a pretty good indicator. Yeah? Okay, number three, sustained change requires a structure for fulfillment. Just like a prescription is no good without a pharmacy, inspiration and direction is no good without a structure that gets you there. My ice cream habit, say. And instead, he says we have to think about habits as having three parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward. The cue is something that triggers the habit: an event, a person, a place, a time, a feeling. The routine is what you actually do, and the reward is some kickback, physical or psychological, that feels good in some way. But here's the pro tip I want to leave you with, and I think you already know this. Willpower is a finite resource. It's like a muscle, it gets fatigued. So anything you design that involves white-knuckling it is doomed. And what that tells me is that we have to design our environments such that the desired behavior is the path of least resistance. And if you want to really understand an environment, the most defining feature of your environment is the other human beings there with you. So I think of Genentech here as a community of practice. It's not a community of spiritual practice or health practice necessarily, but it's a community in which you are practicing habits and behaviors all day long with each other and in front of each other. And you have the choice for whether to design a community that generates habits that are increasing vitality, increasing engagement and agility, or going the other way. my deepest desire, actually, in this moment, is that you find a way to let this activate you, to let this get you to take yourself on in a meaningful way, because frankly, it doesn't get better tomorrow. It's not going to be easier tomorrow to get yourself out of the stands and on the court. My coaches and I would love to chat with you. Let this conversation be something of significance for you, your life, and your organization. Thank you so, so much.